The much-anticipated second night of Dr. Paul Eneche's Crusade in the Islamic Republic of Pakistan was unexpectedly cancelled. But why? The senior pastor of Dunamis International Gospel Center has opened up on what really happened. According to Dr. Eneche, the crusade, which had already witnessed an overwhelming turnout on the first night, was put on hold due to security concerns. Speaking to his congregation upon his return, he described his experience in Pakistan as both powerful and memorable. He recounted the warm reception he and his team received upon arrival, saying that the people welcomed them with open arms, and government officials ensured they were treated with great honor. However, just 2 days before their arrival, Pakistan had experienced a major terrorist attack, creating heightened security concerns across the country. Although the government had initially granted full approval for a 2-day crusade, an uncommon occurrence in the region, security operatives later advised the team to hold off on the second night. Dr. Eneche explained that after their powerful first night session, the authorities became increasingly concerned about the large crowds expected for the second night. They feared that the gathering could become difficult to control, especially considering the country was already on high alert. By the time clearance was finally given, it was already too late to reorganize the event. The stage, lighting, and sound setup had already been taken down, and the announcement of the cancellation had gone out.
Next day, we're meant to go for the welfare that you saw. After we have done commanding the day at 3 a.m., 3 a.m. their time, we're meant to go for the welfare that you saw. This welfare. And then the securities told us to hold on. Now, 2 days before we went, exactly 2 days before our arrival, there had been a terror attack 1,500 kilometers away from where we were, but in the same country, where a whole train was captured and all of that. So there was more like a security alert on in the nation before we arrived. And then they gave us, in addition to the visa, they added something they call a no objection certificate from the government. That is, we don't have any objection to these people coming or what they came to do. No objection. Wow. And then approved 2 days of crusade. In the history of their country, said, you don't do crusades for 2 days, 2 days on one spot. No. They approved it for us. What a favor. And then when the first night happened, and you didn't see the crowd. People were sitting on the floor. People were standing by the road. People were hanging everywhere. When that first night happened, and we announced everybody to come on the second night with so and so, by the next day, the securities and safety of the securities came to us and said we should hold on. And they needed to be sure that everything is security cleared before we could go for that welfare administration. End of the day, they did not guarantee our going. So they said we should hold on and wait for the evening session. And so I told myself, I said, if this afternoon session, which is a smaller meeting in the daytime, they cannot guarantee our going, is it the evening? And then I saw two concerns. Number one, safety. If this kind of crowd showed up first night, and they saw the things they saw, we say, come the next day, and the crowd multiplied 2-3 times, where do you keep the people? How do you prevent people trampling themselves? And then, of course, the country was already on security alert, so security concern, so we're waiting. And by the time they came back to us, they said, the meeting may only hold at another venue if there is a possibility of another venue, but not that venue. Wow. It was impossible to dismantle stage, dismantle light, dismantle sound, dismantle everything, and look for another venue, and take everything there. Those kind of setups takes at times 48 hours, 24, 48 hours to set up. So the conclusion is the meeting was not going to hold. And so we had the ministers' conference the next day. And I therefore said, instead of waiting the next day, because I won't feel good that the evening came and we are not at the crusade and I'm in this town. Let's hold the ministers' conference today within the next 2 hours. So that meeting you saw the pastors gather was 2 hours notice. And they gathered from everywhere. And then we had the ministers' conference. Later on, I got to know that just before we set for the airport, they came and they said now, from the government, clearance was given already that a crusade holds the second night. Even though they gave permission for 1 night before, but they gave us all manner of favor. That is, but the security people say, hold on. Only maybe 6 p.m. or thereabout, before we were start, they say, okay, now they have been able to clear security and mobilize more forces and all of that to be sure that everything was good. But at that time, it was too late. At that time, there was no word has gone out that the meeting is cancelled. There was no way we could regather the people back. And that was how that night didn't hold anymore. So from the government and the security, just before we left, the clarity was given, but it wasn't possible to hold anymore. But we told them that we are going to come back and come back in a more drastic manner. That was the level of favor, the level of help, the level of mercy. If what you saw there is possible, I can tell you anything is possible around your life.